is Jessie, and I do perfume reviews in ASMR format. So if you like perfume, and also if you like ASMR, you are in a good place for our video today. Okay, so I'm doing another collection video today, and today's collection that I'm sharing with you is fragrances that I own that I think are sexy, more alluring, just that kind of profile. Valentine's Day is coming up soon as well, so I thought this would be good getting close to Valentine's Day. So, I know sexy is obviously completely subjective, so I just went with ones that I kind of view as my definition of sexy. So a lot of these happen to be just a little bit maybe deeper, more sensual, maybe have some ambery or vanilla type notes. Some of them have floral notes, some of them are a little more woody or spicy, but I'll explain kind of with each one why I think it is kind of like a sexy, alluring type scent. Also, I've got some samples to go over as well. So this video has, I think, 12 bottles from my collection, and then like 12 samples or something like that. Bear with me because I think I might be getting sick. I've been really sneezy, so I might have to pause the video here and there if I sneeze or I need to blow my nose. And as usual, I dressed on theme, so I decided to go with red because I thought red is a good sexy color. And I wanted to put my hair up. I had it down for the thumbnail, but I wanted to put my hair up because I've got these fun red heart earrings. So I thought those were fun, especially because, like I said, we've got Valentine's Day coming up. Okay, so first fragrance that I have to share with you this is by the brand Givenchy, and this is called Very Irresistible Eau de Toilette. So this is the Eau de Toilette flanker. There's also an Eau de Parfum flanker, and then there's a few other flankers. This fragrance came out in 2012, so it's been around, and I think the Eau de Parfum might even be older, so it's been around for quite a bit. This fragrance is so beautiful. I actually wore this at my wedding, so this was my wedding scent. It's a very beautiful, soft, slightly spicy rose fragrance. So you definitely get a nice rose bouquet coming through, and then it has only 3 other notes listed. It has a note of star anise, so that's a nice spicy, almost slightly licoricey type of scent, which normally I don't love the idea of like anise or licorice in my fragrances, but I really, really like it in this. It just works. I don't know, it just works. We also have a verbena note, which obviously kind of gives it a slightly more fresh, green, almost citrusy type vibe. And then we have a patchouli note, which I love patchouli, and I think patchouli is a very sexy note. So it's kind of like an earthy, warm herb. So basically what we get is a rose that's slightly warm, spicy, earthy, but the verbena kind of lifts it and gives it just a little bit of freshness as well. I haven't smelled the Eau de Parfum version of this, so I can't compare them, but I bet it's not too dissimilar. I'm not sure. So anyway, that is Very Irresistible Givenchy, and the Eau de Toilette concentration. Okay, next. This is definitely an affordable scent. This is by the brand Avon, this is the Beyond, and then this is the Intense of the Beyond. So that makes me think that the Beyond one must have been popular enough to make an Intense version of it. Sorry, my nose is so sniffy. It's really bothering me. But anyway, kind of sexy looking bottle, you know. So this fragrance is, it's a really nice mix of quite a few different things going on. So we have some white florals. We have an almond note, which definitely comes through, kind of gives it like a just creamy, nutty groundedness, smooth powderiness. We've got some citrus, and then we've got a bunch of ambery, kind of ambery smooth, more base notes. So we've got like amber, tonka bean, vanilla, sandalwood, musk, patchouli. So I just think this is very well rounded. Like, it's got the florals, it's got a little bit of citrus, almond, and then a bunch of kind of ambery, vanilla type, woody type notes. This smells a bit like Carolina Herrera's Good Girl. And that, I would say that's definitely a sexy scent as well. So yeah, that is Avon Far Away Beyond Intense. Alrighty, next. This was a totally random blind buy for me, meaning I purchased it without ever smelling a sample or anything. I don't know what went through my head, but I just liked the look of the bottle, which now that I have it, I'm like, I don't know why I liked the look of the bottle so much. But, this is by the brand Boticário, which I believe is I think it's a Brazilian brand. And this is called Coffee Duo Woman. So there's a line, I think it's the Coffee Woman line, and it has a bunch of flankers, so Duo is one of them. I was interested to try this because of some of the notes in here. Like, this has a coffee note as well as a milk note and a lavender note. So if you've heard of the fragrance Coffee Break by Maison Margiela Replica, if you've heard of that, that also has a milk, coffee, and lavender note. So I was probably interested because I like that one, and this one definitely smells different, but it's got a little bit of the same vibe. So it's got actually a bit of fruitiness to it. It has fruity notes, just fruity nuts, whatever that means. And then it definitely, you get the milk and coffee coming through, so it's like a creamy, fruity, slightly coffee vibe. There's a bunch of floral notes, including lavender. And then in the base, we've got a very ambery base, so benzoin, sandalwood, musk, and patchouli. So I really like the dry down of this. The dry down is very sexy. It's just like a very slightly warm, spicy, ambery base that lingers on your skin for quite a while. My husband said he really liked this. I think he smelled it when it was more in the dry down, and he said he really liked it. So okay, so that is Coffee Woman Duo by Boticário. Alrighty, next. This is just a travel spray. This is by the brand Versace, and this is called Crystal Noir. Crystal Noir, and this is the Eau de Toilette version. There's also an Eau de Parfum version, and I think they're pretty similar, but I don't have it to compare right now, so spices in the top notes. We have pepper, ginger, and cardamom. It's not overly spicy, but you definitely get those coming through, so it's slightly warm, spicy, sexy. And then in the base you have sandalwood, musk, and amber, so definitely a more kind of deep, ambery, sensual base. I definitely get the sandalwood coming through. It's kind of like a creamy, yeah, very creamy fragrance overall with the sandalwood, coconut, and gardenia. So, very sexy fragrance. If you like sandalwood, I think this is a good one, but it's got quite a bit else going on as well. Oddly enough, my husband said he didn't like this because it somehow, I think it was the sandalwood, reminded him of like tobacco. But whatever, he's no fun sometimes. So anyway, that's Versace Bright Crystal. Sorry, Crystal Noir, not Bright Crystal. Okay, so next fragrance that we have, oops, wrong one. Next fragrance, this is by Britney Spears. So this is from her Fantasy line, and this one's called Electric Fantasy. So there are so many flankers to her original Fantasy, which is in the shiny pink bottle. This one was launched in 2021, so pretty recently, and this one is really fun, sexy, touch tropical. So you have a kind of vanilla ambery accord that really comes through. It's a touch tropical, a touch fruity. That's mostly what I get. Let me tell you about the notes. So we have a note of passion fruit, which gives it like a tropical fresh fruitiness. There's heliotrope and jasmine, so some florals, but kind of on the softer side. And then in the base we have benzoin and ambroxan, giving it like a warm vanilla, slightly soft spiciness. So yeah, I feel like it's definitely fun, sexy. I feel like it'd be nice for a date night or something like that, or honestly just even wearing to bed. I feel like it's not too overpowering, but it's definitely like soft and sexy. So that's Electric Fantasy by Britney Spears. Alrighty, next. Okay, so this is by Chanel, and this is called Coco Mademoiselle. So this fragrance has been around forever. It's super popular. And I kind of wasn't sure if I wanted to include it in here or not. I find this super sexy, but in a very, like, almost professional, mature, kind of serious way, if that makes sense. Like, I could also see this in the workplace. It's just like a very put together, clean, sexy sort of smell. So what I mainly get with this is patchouli, citrus, and rose. So the main notes that we have coming through is orange. There's also bergamot, but mostly orange. Then there's quite a bit of rose coming through, as well as some other floral notes. And then in the base notes, we have quite a bit of patchouli, like I said. Also got musk, vanilla, vetiver. So yeah, it's kind of a nice mix of some brighter, fresher notes, and then some smoother, deeper bass notes. If you don't like patchouli, you really might not like this, but I feel like the way that Chanel does patchouli is the most likable. You know, it still has like an earthiness, but it's not quite. I would say the Chanel patchoulis come through a little more refined. So if you're really not into like that super earthy, dirty patchouli vibe, this doesn't really come off that way. I love it so much. Next fragrance. This is another good cheapie. You can find this often for, you know, 15-20 bucks. This is by the brand Calvin Klein, and this is called Into You For Her. So this fragrance it's a nice mix of a few different main accords. It has a freshness, so there's definitely like a citrus and green freshness coming through. There's also quite a bit of like an ambery vanilla in the base. So yeah, it's like a mix of fresh and also a little bit like ambery vanilla, and altogether just comes through to me as pretty sexy. It's like a little bit more unisex leaning, which, I don't know, in my book, the ones that are slightly more unisex always seem a little more sexy to me. I don't know why. But yeah, it's just like, it's a mix of kind of like deep and fresh and also fresh. I forget about this one, but this is a great one, so I might make this my scent of the day. We'll see. But yeah, this has a cactus note in it, interestingly enough. Bergamot, grapefruit, vanilla amber, orchid. So yeah, that's Calvin Klein Into You For Her. Okay, moving on. Next fragrance. This is a mini. It's super cute. This is a mini of Estée Lauder's Bronze Goddess. This fragrance is super sexy, and yeah, the name kind of gives you that impression. Bronze Goddess. So obviously we're thinking tropical because bronze, right? And it definitely is a tropical scent. It's kind of a perfect mix of coconut, vanilla, and white floral. So very sexy. Think, yeah, beach, suntanned, sun's going down. You could wear this during the day, but you could really wear this at night too. I feel like this is a perfect transition into the evening. So we've got coconut, tiare flower, vanilla amber, and sandalwood. So it's pretty much just that. It's coconut, tiare, which is a tropical white floral, and then a sort of sandalwood vanilla base. Very sexy. This would be a great vacation fragrance, or just like summer fragrance. Alright. Next, this fragrance is a great cheapie celebrity scent. This is by the brand Shakira, and this is called S. So it was probably, I would think, one of her earliest fragrances that she put out. I'm not sure though. Maybe not. It's launched in 2010. Ooh, my nose. And it's very simple. So it's actually got a lot of similar notes to this one, but it doesn't have the coconut. So it's got jasmine, sandalwood, vanilla, amber, and benzoin. So we've got an ambery vanillic, very soft vanillic type base. Sandalwood gives it definitely like a very dry, powdery woodiness. And then jasmine. And it's all very subtle. Like, this is a very soft, light, powdery fragrance. So you have to spray quite a bit if you really want to smell it. But this is from their Reserve line, and it's called Radiant Nectar. Radiant Nectar. So this one is just a very sweet, musky, it's like a ambery, musky fragrance. So we have a note of pear, which definitely comes through. It's like a sweet, think of pears that have been cut up and like covered in honey. They're like dripping in honey, and then there's like a very like musky softness to the air. There's like a warm breeze on like a August afternoon or something. That's kind of the vibe it gives me. So we get a lot of pear coming through, a bunch of musky type notes, and then there's a tobacco blossom note, which is like a white floral and just gives it like a touch of like a fresh tobacco-iness, but it's like very subtle. So yeah, I think this is very sexy in like a musky amber type way. So that is by Clean Beauty Collective, and it's called Clean Reserve Radiant Nectar. Okay, last fragrance bottle that I have to show you. This is by the brand Prada, and it is called Candy. Prada Candy. So this fragrance has been around for quite a bit, and I feel like it's pretty popular, or was at least. I find this very sexy. You would think with the name Candy that it's just like super sweet. It is sweet, but it's not too sweet. It's like a sexy, mature, powdery sweet. So, main notes that we have in here are caramel and vanilla. There's also benzoin in the base, and I feel like the benzoin definitely comes through. It kind of gives it a little bit more of a spiciness. So, yeah, I mean, I get the caramel and vanilla, but really it's not too edible smelling. Like, it's just a little bit more mature, which I really like. Then in the middle notes there is what is referred to as powdery notes and musk, and I think that's why I really like this, is because it definitely has like a powdery, somewhat more mature type of vibe to it. Overall, it's a very soft fragrance, so it's not super bold. The longevity's not great. The sillage and projection is not great, but it works really well for me. So yeah, that is Prada Candy. Okay, so next I'm going to move on to the samples that I have to show you that I think are sexy, sensual, alluring. So I am going to spray some of these because the samples I cannot smell from the cap the way that I can with my bottles. I don't know why, I just can't. So anyway, this first one that we have here, this is by the brand Narciso Rodriguez, and this is called Mus Noir Rose For Her. So this one, I feel like has gotten a lot of hype in the last year. I think it was released in 2022, yeah. So it's been super popular. I just have this sample of it, and I honestly have not smelled it in a minute. So I'm kind of excited to smell it right now and see what I think of it again, because it's been a bit. But this is another rose fragrance. It's a very musky rose, because literally every fragrance from Narciso Rodriguez, I'm pretty sure, is a musky fragrance, like all of them. It's just what Narciso Rodriguez does best. rose and vanilla. And really those are the key players that I'm getting. It also has bergamot, which gives it like a little bit more freshness. But yeah, very sexy. I really do like the plum note. I feel like I don't have a single bottled fragrance in my collection that has plum in it, and I kind of would like to find one because I think it's a really sexy kind of darker, juicy type fruit. So yeah, that would be fun if I could find one to add to my collection. Okay, so that was Mus Noir Rose by Narciso Rodriguez. Okay, next sample that I have. This is by Giorgio Armani and it's called C. So there are so many, I think there's quite a few flankers to the original C. I haven't smelled all of them, but I know there's quite a few out there. This was launched in 2013, so it has been around for quite a bit, and I believe Kate Blanchett is the face of it. She plays Galadriel in Lord of the Rings. So this fragrance I think is definitely sexy. It's kind of like, it's like slightly woody, slightly like vanilla, slightly floral. I actually sprayed this yesterday, so I'm not going to spray it because I can still smell it. We have a cassis note, which is the black currant leaves. So it almost has like a syrupy kind of green herbalness to it. I definitely get that coming through. Some people think cassis smells like urine. I don't really get that myself. It works for me, but just a warning. And then, yeah, we've got vanilla, rose, and freesia. Some woody notes and patchouli. So, yeah, I think this is a nice mix of slightly floral, vanilla, woody, and then the cassis definitely gives it just like something a little bit different. So that is by Armani, and it's called C, which means yes in Spanish. Okay, next fragrance. This is by the House of Mancera, and this is called Roses Vanille. So roses and vanilla, pretty straightforward. I'm not gonna spray this because I sprayed it not too long ago, but this I would say is a pretty sweet fragrance. It's got rose, it's got vanilla, it's got an Italian lemon note, white musk, and cedar. I feel like this is deeper than you would expect. It's definitely more of like a Middle Eastern rose, I would say. It's not like a fresh dewy rose. It's actually described as Turkish rose, which I think Turkish rose tends to be a little bit more like a deep rose, Middle Eastern rose. So yeah, it's a very sexy, slightly darker, sweet rose. So definitely I feel like this could be a good Valentine's Day perfume because, you know, vanilla and rose. Valentine's Day sounds pretty good. So that's Roses Vanille by like if I was on the hunt for a sandalwood fragrance that I liked, that I wanted a bottle of, I might just get this because it's nice and it's like super affordable. Very sexy, I would say, because it's like warm, spicy vanilla, woody. So that is Levine For Her. Okay, next, this is by the brand Vince Camuto, and this is called Illuminare Intensa. So it's the intense version of their fragrance called Illuminare. Vince Camuto is a pretty affordable brand. This is another plum fragrance, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, it has plum, and you definitely get the plum coming through. So I feel like this is sexy. It's a little bit deep, syrupy, fruity, but all together still comes off as like fairly light and fresh. So I really like it for that reason. Like, it definitely has like a more nighttime purple sexy vibe, but it's also still kind of fresh. I would say what freshens it up is there's some bergamot in the top notes. There's a plum blossom note, which I think is kind of like plummy, but in a light floral way. There's a note of vanilla as well as vanilla orchid. So yeah, I really like this. I would honestly potentially consider getting a bottle of this because, like I said, I don't have any plum fragrances, and I like this, and I honestly think I like it more than Narciso Mus Noir Rose. So that's by Vince Camuto, and that is called Illuminare Intensa. Okay, next fragrance. This is by the brand BDK, and this is Gris. This one's actually the extrait version, but either, the extrait or just the original, I feel would, work well in this video. They're definitely a deeper, sexier type scent. So, this is another sandalwood heavy fragrance. So you get a bunch of sandalwood coming through, very deep. There's a warm spiciness to it coming from cardamom as well as iris and patchouli. And then there's a fig note, which you do get a touch, but it's not like super fruity fig. It just kind of adds like an extra sweet, slightly fruitiness in the background. So what I mostly get is sandalwood, cardamom, touch of fig, touch of like vanilla and patchouli. Yeah, this is like super sexy, pretty unisex, I would say. And yeah, it's like if you don't like sandalwood, you're not gonna like this, just straight up. But I think sandalwood's a very sexy scent, so that's why a lot of these fragrances have sandalwood in them. Okay, next fragrance that I have to show you. This is by the brand Paco Rabanne, and this is called Olympia. So this is a salty vanilla. So yeah, we've got salt, and it definitely does come through, but it's not like insanely salty. But if you don't like salt, this is a no-go. So we've got salt, vanilla, there's water, a note of water jasmine, so just like a touch of floral. That's mostly what I get. Yeah. Sexy, salty vanilla. Think sun is going down. I feel like that's what this is, like a transition from day to night to me. It could work during the day or night, but I feel like I see it as like transitioning into nighttime. So that's Paco Rabanne Olympia, and there's a bunch of flankers to the Olympia because it's done pretty well. People seem to like it, so this one I think is like a subtle, it's kind of like a friendly, gentle, sexy. So it definitely has some soft florals coming through, like freesia, lotus, osmanthus. So it's got a bunch of floral notes, but they're kind of coming through in like a soft, like gentle way. Then we have a note of raspberry and blueberry, which come through, but not like super duper fruity. It's just like, it's like a very almost aquatic, fresh, light vibe. And then also in the base we've got we've got vanilla and almond, which give it a slightly more warm, creamy type feel. Warm vanilla, creamy feel. So yeah, this is like sexy in a very subtle, somewhat more innocent way. So yeah, I just found this one and I hadn't smelled it in so long, and I was like, oh, that's kind of sexy. I like it. So that is by the brand Juice, and it is called Touch. Okay, last fragrance, and I did mention this one earlier. This is by the brand Carolina Herrera, and this is called Good Girl. Every time I smell this, I definitely think it's sexy. It, like I said, is pretty dang similar to Avon's Far Away Beyond Intense. It has quite a few of the same notes. So it has that almond note. It also has a coffee note, but it's not like super strong coffee, it's just subtly there. It's got a bunch of white florals, and then in the base it's just got a bunch of like kind of gourmandy type notes, like vanilla, praline, cacao, tonka bean, cinnamon, musk, cashmere wood, patchouli. So bunch of sexy, creamy, gourmand type base notes, white florals, almond, coffee, and also some citrus in the top notes. So yeah, just a very sexy fragrance, I would say. And like I said, definitely similar to the Avon. So this one's cheaper. And honestly smells pretty similar to me. But yeah, I like these type of fragrances that have a good amount of like floral and then other stuff going on as well. So yeah, that is Good Girl by Carolina Herrera. Alright everybody, so I hope you all enjoyed the video. Yeah, let me know what you think, if there are any fragrances that you think are very sexy. And of course, like I said, sexy is subjective, but I kind of went with which ones I think of as sexy and what I kind of think most people perceive as sexy. And of course, these are, this is geared towards a woman. These are more like feminine type of fragrances. So, hope you all enjoyed.